Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. You made it. You made it in through the first full week into 2021. And so far, nothing has exploded. Nothing is caved in. Everybody's still standing. So far, so good. So congratulations. You made it through the first week of 2021. I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday, and she was telling me how much she enjoyed some of my little Facebook lives that I do. And she had a great suggestion yesterday. And I thought, well, that it's really true. Her suggestion was, what makes a good friendship? And I really started to think about that because I'm very blessed with, I have a lot of people around me. I have a lot of acquaintances, but I've got a core group of people that I just kind of keep with me. And, the friendship to me is so important on so many different levels. We do the makeovers for women with cancer through Hello Gorgeous. And I've always said that one of the most important parts is the reveal party. So the woman is nominated by family and friends. We show up unannounced with candy and flowers and roll out a red carpet, greet her with a great big Hello Gorgeous. This was all before the pandemic. Things are changing a little bit now. But when we were able to do those, and she was taken to a salon and she was given a full day of beauty, manicure, pedicure, facial. She needed a wig. We provided one. We worked with a clothier to get a new outfit. And then we planned a big reveal party for her afterwards. And to me, the reveal party was one of the most important parts of that makeover. Because through these years, actually, we're getting ready to start our 15th year with Hello Gorgeous. And through all of the makeovers and all of the things that we've done with women battling cancer, the one thing that I have found is that when a woman is diagnosed with cancer, people don't know what to say, so they say nothing and stay away. And that's when she needs her friends the most. That's when she needs the support. It's interesting. We get the question all the time, what do you do for men? Right? We get that all the time. And we don't provide services for men because my calling is all for women battling cancer, not necessarily men. But the other thing is that when a woman is diagnosed with cancer, she loses everything that makes her feel pretty, right? She loses her eyebrows. She loses her eyelashes. She can lose her breasts if it's breast cancer. And a lot of times women, they want people surrounding them, right? They want people just to be able to have close to them. And so I can provide that. I can show you how to draw your eyebrows on. I can show you how to make it look like you've got eyelashes. I can help you deter or draw away from the facts that, you've got chemotherapy. I can help you with all of that. When a man is diagnosed with cancer, he loses strength and virility. And he really doesn't want anybody around, right? Just make me a sandwich, give me the remote control, and leave me alone. So I can't do as much for men as I can for women. But also that's where my passion is. My passion is to be able to help women with cancer. And so going back to the reveal party, that's why I felt that the reveal was really the most important part of the makeover because of the fact that we were able to make her feel like $1 million. And then after she felt that good, we were able to bring all of these people together, family members and coworkers that could surround her and give her the support that she needed going forward in her journey, whether she was halfway through, just beginning, even if she was at the end. That can be one of the toughest parts is when you're at the end of that, because all of these people were around you when you were going through your treatment. Now, all of a sudden it looks like you're doing okay. And so they kind of beg off then. They're not there. She needs to be supported all the way through this. And so it really, when my friend said that to me, to do something about, what makes a good friendship, I really got to thinking about that. So I have 5 keys that I think really make a good friendship. And I want to kind of talk through those just to give you an idea of my thoughts. It's not everybody's thoughts, but these are my thoughts. Years ago, my late husband used to have a friend. We won't name him, but he was not a very nice person. And Michael had friended this kid when they were in grade school because he didn't have any friends. He didn't really think about, he didn't think bathing or showering was important. Just had really different looks on things, like didn't think clothes should be Christmas presents. Just a really different gentleman. And that back then he was a kid. But Mike befriended him because he said that everybody deserved a good friend. Everybody deserved at least one good friend. When they went through high school, Mike realized why this guy didn't have any friends. And, it got to the point where, you know what, not everybody deserves a good friend. There are reasons that people have friends. There are reasons that people have friendships. There are also reasons that people don't have friends and that they don't have friendships. But also, friendship takes a lot of work. There's a lot of things that you have to do in order to maintain a friendship. You just can't show up and have it happen. I mean, it takes a lot of work. So I'm very blessed, actually. And this was another thing that came to my mind a year ago in November, when I had surgery to remove a cancerous tumor out of my colon. I remember the nurses saying to me, "You are really loved." And I looked at her and I said, "Well, thank you. But how can you tell?" was my whole thing, right? And it was difficult to go through that because I had lost my husband 2 years before. So, your person that's there, here it was, I spent all of this time advocating for Mike all of those years. And now all of a sudden I'm healthy. Like Seth and I always said, we didn't have to have any of the health issues because Mike had them all. He took them all for us. And so all of a sudden, all of those years that I advocated for Mike all of that time, now all of a sudden I'm faced with a health challenge and he's not here. But what the nurses had said was, "You are so loved." And I said, again, thank you. What makes you say that? And they said, the parade of people that have been in and out of your room. And again, this was all prior to COVID, but they said the parade of people that has been in and out of this room in the last 4 days, it's just been incredible. They said, you don't understand. There are a lot of people that come up here and not one visitor. Nobody comes to see them. Their phone doesn't ring. Nobody checks on them. And that makes me really sad. But it also makes me very grateful because I really do. I have got a tribe of people that I keep really close to me. And I'm grateful for that. But it doesn't come easy. It takes a lot of work. Two very close friends of mine I've known since I was 17 years old. And I don't know, can anybody say that? Does anybody have friends? Ann's on here. I know Ann's got a couple of friends that they've been, known each other for a really long time. But these friends of mine, we've known each other since we were 17, since I was in high school. And we still maintain that friendship today. So a funny story, years ago, they both had children prior to Mike and I having kids. And Mike and I put off we were married for 9 years before we ever had Seth. And we did that on purpose because of the fact that we wanted to start a business and I wanted to make sure my whole thing was I wanted to make sure that I was financially stable before I had a child. And I would have clients every day say, "Look, if you wait till you're financially stable to have a child, you're never going to have a child. So you're just going to have to give that thought up and you're just going to have to go for it." So we did. So we went ahead and we waited 9 years, but we had Seth. And my other friends, these other two really good friends of mine, had already had their children. And so what I kept saying to Mike was, gosh, their kids are going to be out of high school and out of college, and we're going to have one in kindergarten. And so what's that going to do? Because these were the group of people that we did everything with. Like we would go to dinner with, and we would vacation with. It was all the things. And so these thoughts started to come to mind. Well, what's going to happen? How is this going to be now when I'm the one, I've got a little one and they're empty nesters? What's that going to be like? So I remember having these thoughts over and over again. Well, Mike, my late husband, and my friend, they're 6 weeks apart. So when they turned 40, we gave them a huge birthday party, a surprise birthday party. And we had a DJ and it was a hall. And I mean, we had so much fun. Well, Lisa's souvenir from that birthday party was a 19-year-old son. He just turned 19. So all of a sudden now I didn't have a child. She has two older girls and she's pregnant at 40 with a baby. And so it was shortly after that, then that happened, I think, in February. And then that September, Mike and I had gotten pregnant. So in December, then we were able to go and tell her that we were expecting. And another high school friend of mine had always promised me, I can't remember how old her daughter was at the time. Her daughter just turned, I think, 28, 29. And so she had an older child. And so she always promised me that when I got pregnant, so would she. So that's what happened. So my one friend had a child in December. I had Seth in June, And my friend who always promised to get pregnant with me at the same time did, and her daughter was born in August. And so talk about a good friend, right? Somebody that would tell you that they get pregnant with you and they actually do it, whatever, 20 years later. And so what has been really great is that we have all of these pictures of all these three kids now from the time they were little, like, 2 months old, sitting on a couch together when they were leaning into one another and falling over, to just recently when the first child last year graduated from high school. So we have all of these pictures of all the first communions and all the birthdays and, the graduations and all the life moments that we've got with all of these kids. And so I'm very, very, very fortunate because of the fact that I have these friends that have been in my life forever. But I'm also surrounded by a wonderful executive team. And I have 3 younger sisters. And you know what? All of those are friendships. They all started as friendships before they became my executive team. My sisters were my sisters, but I'm grateful to be able to say that they're my friends as well. They're not just my sisters. So as I was thinking about this today, I thought, there are a lot of things that go into making or maintaining a friendship. Right? It really doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. There are people that you connect with. Like I know that we've got salon affiliates all over the country, and there's several ones. My podcast guest from this week is Jody out of Minnesota. And I say to her all the time, man, I wish you lived right next door to me, because, there are just some of those people, right, that are just in your life and they just connect with you. So some of the things that I had like 5 things that when I sat back and I looked at my executive team, when I looked at my close girlfriends, and when I looked at even the relationships that I have with my sisters, there were 5 things that really came to mind that made me think, wow, this is why I have the friendships that I do. This is why I've got the relationships that I do, is because of these 5 things, these elements that I put into it. So the first thing that I feel that goes into a friendship is you have to make an effort. So Mary and Lisa and I, my 3 friends that all have teenagers right now, we don't work together. We're not necessarily family, but we make it an effort. We have a text thread between the 3 of us where we send these funny memes that go together. There's another girl that comes in with us. We're known as the Bobos, and Susan comes in with us a lot of times too. And we go to dinner together. We try and go to dinner at least once a month. We were trying to do that before COVID hit. But it really does take effort. It's interesting. I have a group of moms right now that all of our boys are seniors in high school. And many of them I've known since Seth has been in the 6th grade. And because of the different things that we have, where it's a, whether it's a sport, it was tennis or bowling, or, there was something happening that our paths always crossed. And so we were able to see each other on a regular basis without much effort. And so that's one of the things that we're talking about is, okay, now next year our boys are going to be out of high school, and a lot of the different activities that we've had that our paths have crossed, they're not going to cross anymore. So what are we going to do? How are we going to make an effort, whether it's dinner once a month or lunch once a month, whatever that is? What effort are we going to have in order to be able to pull together to make sure that we can maintain that friendship so that we don't lose that friendship? And so I think the number 1 thing is making an effort. Number 2, it's reciprocation. Now, I don't know about you, but there are some relationships that I have where I will say, I ask all the questions. And maybe that's just me, but I have a tendency, I want to know, how are your kids? How are your parents? And maybe that's the hairdresser in me. When I stood behind the chair, it was all about relationship building, right? So I would say, how's your mom doing with her broken bone? How is this? I always ask things, right? There are some relationships that I have that are very one-sided, in that I may be the one that asks all these questions, and yet I never get asked those questions. There are some people in my life that don't say, how is Seth? They don't necessarily want to know how the organization is going. And so I'm finding that those aren't the relationships that I really want to pour into. The relationships that are really close to me, it's 2-sided. It's not just that I'm the one asking all the questions. They're reciprocating those questions too. How are you doing? What's happening on the home front? What's happening with Seth? What are his college choices right now? What's happening with Hello Gorgeous? They're excited, but they reciprocate all of those questions. They want to know as much about you as what you want to know about them. So I think that that's key number 2 to really maintaining or having a good friend and having a good friendship. Number 3 is honesty. I want to make sure that I'm honest. I don't lie. We make plans to go to dinner and I just decide that I'm too tired and I don't want to go, then that's what I'm going to tell you. I'm too tired. I really don't want to go. Can we postpone this? Or do you want to go without me? Or whatever that looks like. I'm not going to lie to you about that. The other thing is too, if there grass that you have to tread. If you find something out about a friend and you waver with, well, do I go to that friend and tell them what I know? Or do I just kind of keep that to myself? Would you want to know if there was something happening with either a family member or a child? I would want to know, because to me, knowledge is power. So I think that the third key to really maintaining and having a really good friendship is it's all about honesty. It's being honest with who you are. It's being honest with them, and it's being authentic too, right? I know when I'm with my friends, I always tell people, I really hope that if you see me on stage talking in front of 10,000 people, or if I'm running through the drive-thru at McDonald's to get an unsweet tea, that I'm the same person. Right? That I'm no different on stage when I'm standing up there and talking to you and telling you the story as I am if I'm running through a drive-thru, or if I happen to run into you at Target, whatever that is. So I think honesty and authenticity, it's all in that same area. Being authentic and being honest is key number 3. Number 4, I think it's celebrating each other. I think it's, if you both are going for a new job and your friend gets a job and you don't get the job, it's being happy for her that she did get the job. If you've got friends that are, somebody's getting engaged and you really want that significant other in your life, be excited for them. Don't just stand back and sulk because it didn't happen to you. I don't think that that's what friendship is meant to be. I think it's really making sure that you celebrate them and you celebrate their successes, because in turn, they're going to celebrate you and celebrate your successes as well. But it's really, it's coaching people up, and it's talking them up, and it's making sure that they feel good. I have a saying, and I really do try and live it, that anybody that encounters me, whatever it is, whether it's, in a store, whatever it is, I want you to feel better when you leave my presence than worse, right? So I want to make sure that I ask the questions. How are you doing? In the days when we could hug, I would give a Kim famous hug. I can't do that so much now, and that really, it's hard for me to do because I outstretch my arms to everybody, but I know I can't do that. But, I really do try and make people feel better when they leave my presence than when they were there. And I think that it truly is all about celebrating, right? It's celebrating those little wins. It's celebrating all the life experiences that happen, whether it's a birthday or a, first communion. I know, again, with a lot of my friends, there's a tribe that's there. So if there's a birthday, if there's a graduation, whatever it looks like, we're always there. Actually, there was one in particular graduation where my friend Lisa's oldest daughter was getting ready. She was graduating from high school, and she ended up getting meningitis and ended up being in the hospital. So she wasn't able to walk for her high school graduation, but they wanted the party to go on because they didn't know what was happening. So my friend Lisa was at the hospital with her daughter, and the Bobos went into action. So we actually went over to the house. We swept, we put away laundry, we prepared all the food. We got everything together so that the house was ready when the guests arrived. The daughter was then later discharged from the hospital, and they showed up at the party later. But I think about that so often, and how lucky I was to be able to be there for her. But the friendship that we built all those years, that she knew that she could count on us. She wasn't worried about the spinach salad not being made right, or that the cocktails wouldn't be out the way that they were. We were able to do that for her. And that says something because of the friendship that we built. But it was also, we were so happy to be able to be there for her, to celebrate that with her, and to make sure that that's what she wanted, it to be perfect for her daughter. And we were able to pull that off. The last one, the 5th key, I think it's really laughing. Right? It's laughing with each other, and it's laughing at each other. And let me tell you, we've had plenty of times of doing that, doing dumb things, making, there are just so many different instances, but it's that good belly laugh, I think, that's really healthy for all of us. I think that that's what the world needs more of, is laughter. And so that's where memories come from. I think that that's one of the things that I miss about not having Mike around. Number one is the laughter that we had, but also because of all of these couples that are together, we made so many memories. It was funny, widow humor. We had a cookout earlier this year, in the middle of summer, I think, to celebrate the boys bowling. And my friend, there was a group text that we were in, and she said to my friend, "Hey, go ahead and bring your husband if he wants to come." And I wanted to text back, "Well, I'd bring Mike, but he'd probably be a little cold right now, so it's not the right thing for me to do." But you have to laugh. Right? You've got to laugh at those situations. You have to laugh at yourself, and you have to laugh at some of the, make those memories so that you're either laughing together or you're laughing with each other, you're laughing at each other, whatever that looks like. So to me, those are the 5 keys. So the 5 keys, just in review, is you've got to make an effort. You have to make an effort to make sure that you stay together, because paths are going to cross, and then the things that brought you together may not be there anymore. Reciprocating, make sure that if your friend is asking about you, that you're asking about them as well. And the other thing is, when you're asking about somebody, if this pertains to a cancer patient, don't ask them how they're doing. You know what? Because they really don't want to tell you how they're doing. They probably feel like crap. So find another way to say, ask what's up, ask what's good, ask how, their day has been. Tell them how excited you are. When you walk in and say, instead of saying, "How are you doing?" say, "Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you." But don't ask them how they're doing, because they really don't want to tell. Now, if you sit down and an extended conversation, you can say, if they want to talk about it, "How are you doing?" But every time you see them, you don't want to, because more than likely they don't want to tell you how they're doing. So the third key to a very positive friendship, or I think a good friendship, a solid friendship, is being honest. The fourth key is celebrating each other and celebrating all of the wins and all of the successes, and making sure that you get to do that together. And the last one is just laughter. And as I said, I feel like so many times that's what we need in this world more than anything, is laughter. So, and just to be happy. So make sure you find those good friends and find ways to laugh at yourself, as well as laughing at each other and with each other. So those are my words of wisdom for today. I hope that they've touched upon you, and I hope that you have some really good friends and some great friendships that you get to be a part of. And that if there's a friend that crosses your mind that you haven't thought about in a while, I want to encourage you to reach out to them. Because sometimes I think that God gives us a little bit of a wink that somebody is on our mind for a certain reason, or they're on, they cross our paths, or we think about them. Just send them a text, tell them that you're thinking about them. Maybe they just really need to hear that. So, I did that yesterday. Actually, I had a CAT scan done, and a former client of mine, a doctor, was the one that read my CAT scan. And that always brings me great comfort when she's my doctor that's reading my scan. And so I just reached out to her and sent her a text message yesterday and said, "I'm so grateful that you were the one that read that scan for me, and that I really appreciate that." So don't let a moment go by. If there's an old friend that you want to reconnect with, or somebody else that's just kind of crossing your mind, just reach out to them. So I hope that's helped. I hope that's given you, and I hope that you are blessed with many, 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 many great friendships. Have a good weekend.